Okay.
Welcome to Jewish Boy Calls His Mother. I'm your host, Sadia. This is my mother, Ima. Hey, Ima.
Hey, my little sweetness.
So we've had some technical difficulties. I just think this is kind of weird because whenever I give you the invite for the meeting and comes in, the audio just doesn't work. And then when we go to Frommies, it works fine. So I don't know what's going on, but I
And
guess,
that's because technology doesn't like me. I've told you that.
well, when you label it that way, you're setting yourself up for failure. Um,
It's reality. Technology doesn't like me. Remember the time at TA when I was subbing and the boys had computers? I walked in with the class to the computer room, and all of a sudden the teacher says, I don't understand it. These computers were working fine just a second ago. Now they're all now they're all down. What happened? And I said to the teacher, that's because I'm here. And I
I
walked
guess
in the room and
so.
they started working again.
But why did it work for the past 2 years and all of a sudden now?
Maybe there was a change in my electromagnetic energy.
Sure, sure. All right, we'll do it the topic for today. What's something you once strongly believed and now you don't believe in at all?
Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. I'm not joking. Um, the power for us to shape our own destiny.
Oh, yeah, you really thought that?
Yes, yes.
When did your mind change?
It was a slow erosion
Oh, okay.
for many years when I saw very clearly just how little control I really did have over my life. Well, actually, it's like what's it that prayer that they say for Alcoholics Anonymous about
Um,
uh, give me
Give me the
the
strength.
strength,
I know what you're talking about. I know what
the
you're
strength to
talking about.
change things I can, the serenity to accept the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two. Really,
Uh,
what I'm starting to realize more
oh,
and more
yeah.
that um you know the let's put it this way, the way that the especially in the United States, we are basically raised with the idea that we can control everything. We can totally shape our own destiny. And there are some things in life we can do to a certain extent, yes, like not getting involved in, risky behavior, not getting involved in drugs. And, you know, um, basically I said, not, keeping away from danger, from something that's a dangerous situation. Um, and, there's a certain amount of planning that it's good for people to have a certain amount of planning in their life. Like I can understand, say somebody doesn't want to get married until they have their BA degree. That's understandable. Some people don't want to get married until they're finished with high school.
You
Um,
mean college or?
some people college, some people high school, depending upon what type of professions you want to go into.
Yeah,
You want to go in.
Ima, I
Yeah.
don't think anybody is waiting till after high school. Okay, never mind. Continue.
No,
Continue.
there should be some prize. There's some people
Okay.
who really are not college material,
Mm-hmm.
and they just want to graduate high school and either go right into a job, right into a job, or they want to start their own business, or they want to go into a profession that just requires um, a few months of training or 1 or 2 years of training.
Like a police officer.
Mm. Yeah, I'm surprised. I met a woman when my mother was in the assisted living home. This woman was a professional medicine dispenser. That was her job. Her job was to know how to dispense medicine. She had to know the dosage, how to administer it. If it was a shot, just how to administer it. That was her expertise. That was her whole training. It was like she had, I think, 2 years of an AA degree that for this training,
Mm-hmm.
and she was earning more than your father and I, who had BA degrees.
Well, I mean, that's very true. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a lie I think people have been told, and they're just waking up now that like you don't need college to make money. You know, the college, what college was supposed to do was supposed to show your employer that you know how to follow directions, you know how to stay on task, you know how to complete a task, and you're very willing to learn. But that's slowly shifting because you have all sorts of stupid, crazy degrees people are getting themselves. And then you have all sorts of things that are happening with college being so ridiculously expensive and swimming in all this debt. And the idea was it might be expensive, but I could pay that off in about a year or two. And now it's like, I don't think I'll ever pay this off, and I'm swimming.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's kind of the frustration. And the eventual realization where I'm hoping colleges become obsolete, or they become like a rare occasion like it used to be, where it's like most people can make their money going to trade school or doing whatever and not necessarily needing a college degree, and having college kind of go back to the basics. I think it's kind of funny and silly. I was watching this TV show called Community, and it was kind of poking fun at a lot of colleges with their ridiculous, courses. Like they had a course analyzing a TV show, Who's the Boss, and they did a whole episode about it. And it was just because it's like you see these articles ever so often, and I remember reading this as a kid, and I still remember seeing stuff now where it's like, oh, there's a college course that's going to analyze all the Simpsons episodes, or like we're having a class that's going to analyze all of Taylor Swift's songs. It's just like you have people wasting their money. That's like $900 minimum and plus I would say about 16 to 20 hours a week of your time for 3 months that you're going to spend. Like it just seems insipid. Like I don't understand it. But that again, that's the whole point. It's such a waste. But on to something else that I find very interesting. What's something you hate but you just can't avoid?
Oh gosh. Oh my god. Hate but can't avoid.
Traffic could be one.
Oh, now I see what you mean. Yeah, I always think in terms of food for some reason.
Oh yeah?
Whenever people ask me questions, I don't know what it is. I'm always making food analogies.
Food analogies?
Yeah, like we went to when I think one of your siblings was in like preschool. They took a trip to the National Aquarium, and every fish I saw, I started to say to like some of the other mothers around me, olive oil with a little basil and garlic, and oh, would that group of fish look delicious on my table? It was like every kosher fish, every kosher fish I saw, I would start talking about fish recipes. And one of the mothers said, she said, why is it every single fish you look at, you're thinking of food? Well, that's what they're for, really. I mean,
yeah.
but like I was thinking about there's Sergei Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto Number 2, and the very ending of that concerto, I think, is really beautiful. I think it's got a really dramatic ending, but most of the recordings I've heard of it, for some reason, the concert artists that perform it, it's like, where's the fire?
Yeah.
It's like they're saying to the audience, okay, I've survived playing one of the most difficult piano concerti, on the universe. Now just let me run out of here. They always take that ending and just run right through it as fast as they can. Whereas there was one artist, I forgot who it was. I think it might have been Vladimir Ashkenazy, who, when he took the ending on one of the recordings he did, he slowed it. I mean, he took that ending very slowly. And I thought to myself, oh, this is great. It's like savoring a delicious piece of steak to the very last spicy morsel.
Oh, wow. All right. So I have another question then. What's the worst gift you've received?
Oh, worst gift. Worst gift. Worst gift. Trying to think. Hmm.
I know a worst gift that I got.
What did you get? What was it?
It was Hanukkah time.
Uh-huh.
I was a kid, and I got some chess set with the for $2 for Amazing Savings. It's still the reason why I know it's $2 because it still had the price tag on it.
Who gave it to you? You don't want to say.
I'm we'll talk about it later. I'll tell you
Was,
later.
was it one of these class things where the class exchange?
No,
I hated them.
no,
Oh, your father and I went to the same Hebrew school,
yeah.
and every Hanukkah they did the same thing, where everybody brought gifts and put them in a big pile. Had to be wrapped up, so you didn't know. It had to be wrapped up in wrapping paper, so you didn't really know what you were getting. And you put it in a big pile, and then everybody, like one by one, chose. Like they got around and just chose them, or
Hmm.
you got the name of somebody who you and this other person would exchange gifts. Your father and I hated that because we, I don't know what it was. We always wound up with the booby prizes. And like the worst gift I got was balls and jacks. I hated balls and jacks. I couldn't play the game. I had no motor coordination and
Hmm.
I hated it. And when I would get a game of balls and jacks, I felt like I wanted to cry. Your father told me one year that his sister couldn't believe it. She got a bar soap.
Oh,
And
that's
I
funny.
remember how often I would come back with these, ridiculous gifts that somehow me and this other person had exchanged. And my mother would go, I don't believe you got that gift. I spent such and such on the gift to make it nice. And here you got this lousy little, thing. And they finally, eventually they made a rule. They said everybody is to spend no less than $2.50. I
Oh,
think
wow.
it took a few years for that to happen. I guess parents started complaining or something. Because I remember when I was in like, it was more like fifth grade, fifth, sixth grade, was when they finally came out with a letter. They sent a letter home saying, "We're exchanging gifts. Please do not spend anything less than $2.50."
Oh, okay.
So
What
that's
is
what
the
it meant.
most ridiculous thing
And
someone has been?
what was the matter with the $2 chess set?
It
I like
was
chess sets.
okay. So the issue was that like I was paying attention to everybody else that was getting something, and they were all extremely, not extremely, but more expensive and more exclusive, and definitely something that had more thought into it. Um, and I noticed it, and it upset me because I didn't expect the person to do that. I thought they would put a little more thought and care and money into a gift they want to give me because I thought they cared about me.
Oh well.
Yeah, it's
Well,
okay.
actually, sometimes with some of the discount stores, like Amazing Savings, the same thing that you would find, say, in another retail store would be
Ema,
more expensive.
Ema,
Yes.
if it was a discount store and they had a good prices and they were shopping for multiple other presents in that discount store, and that
Hmm.
discount store was still selling other products that were there at higher prices
Yes.
for more and it had more thought and understanding. And then I was just a
Maybe
second thought.
maybe
No,
they
Ema.
thought
What you're
an
doing is you're
intellectual
trying to
person like yourself
legitimize. No,
would like a
no, I'm
chess
not
set.
buying it. I'm not buying it. You did this when I was younger. I'm not buying it now. I'm too old
Okay.
for that bull. I'm sorry. Just get used to it. People are kind of mean and kind of junky, and
Mm.
that's just how life goes. And
I would- well,
I have had
I would have liked a chess set. I like chess sets.
sure,
I would have
Ema.
liked
Good
it.
for you.
Get me a chess set for Hanukkah, okay?
I'll get you a dollar chess set that attaches to your keychain, and you're gonna love it because I care about you so much.
Oh, good. I can play it. I can play it while I'm driving.
You know what? Here's this. Just go on your phone, download the chess app, play it, and there you go. All right, done. I got it for you.
I didn't even know there was a chess app.
Yeah, there's chess apps. I'll find one for you and I'll send it to you to download. But yeah, you can
Right.
download a chess app. You can play chess. It's fun. Um,
I can see if I can beat myself. Ever
yeah,
try to beat yourself at a game of chess?
yeah. I did a couple of times. So when I was in high school, it was kind of funny because it was like a whole fad for like a year or two or three, where all the guys were playing chess. Um, and so everyone got really into it. And one of the things people did was they would just play chess by themselves, where they'd play against themselves and they tried to strategize against themselves and do what they can to like, you know, intensify it. It was funny. Two guys that like would play chess together all the time. They had moves like so far down the line that they wouldn't even set up the chess game the way it's normally set up. They'd set it up with their moves that they already had planned out. It was really funny. It was really funny. Um, yeah, that was really cool. I remember playing chess with you. I remember Tati got me into a chess club. I don't think I ever mentioned this on the podcast, but I did a chess club when I was younger for a little bit. It was a nice afternoon. It was post class, so like it started
Mhm.
at like 4:30. We had like it was an hour or a half hour long. And the lady there was talking about chess and told us different things about chess. And I thought it was really cool. It was really neat. I really enjoyed it.
Was this,
Um,
I don't know if it was you or one of your other, or Yosef, but I remember there was a Russian chess master that
mhm.
actually had had chess classes after school TA. I think it might have been Yosef that that
It
at
might
that
have been
time.
Yosef because I had a
Yeah.
woman. I remember there being being a
Hmm.
woman and talking to her and asking her questions and things like that and having a whole conversation about her. It was really nice. Um,
Was she a good chess player? Was she like a master
I
chess
don't know.
player?
I guess she was decent. I mean, I was in fourth grade. I wasn't like I'm not some
Mhm.
genius. I love it how like either it was just you or Tati or both or just whatever. Like I don't know. People always like, "Oh, you're so smart. You're a genius. You're this, that, and the other." I'm like, no, I was just a kid and not knowing what I was doing, and I was complimented too much, so I thought I had to know everything perfectly on the first try, which was it's just nothing I'm learning actually about like overly complimenting your children is not a good thing because they have this weird confidence or this weird pressure like they have to do everything like exact on the first try. It had to be amazing, and if not, you were a failure. They didn't like there wasn't any understanding of like no, you can suck for a while and learn and work on it
Mhm.
and eventually
Mm.
get better, you know.
There was actually we had when I was taking um, educational classes, educational psych and foundations of education at
Mm-hmm.
Towson.
Yeah.
That came up because they were at that time we were coming out of the educational approach from the generation before us, which was very negative, where kids were ashamed, kids were called names and blamed for everything, and with the belief that it would make them tough, it would make them better equipped to face life, or they would work if you shamed them or yelled at them, they would work harder. And now in my generation, as we were being trained, we were coming into the idea of being more positive with kids and more encouraging. So that came up, that question about how much how much positive, how much negative. In other words, how should there be criticism? If so, what should be the nature of the criticism? Does criticism really work? Does constant compliments work? And we were reading studies about that, and the conclusion of many of these studies was that honesty was the best policy. If a child is doing something well, tell them they're doing something well and tell them what they did, exactly specifically what they did that was good. If a child is not understanding something, or if a child is really in is is not developing this particular skill um, very well, then be honest but you know give them information. Say this is what you need to. This is what you're doing that is not accomplishing the task. This is what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, stick to um, don't. In other words, stay away from personal comments. Stick to the task.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do to get this answer.
It's funny because they had this thing when I was growing up. about like everybody gets a trophy. Do you remember that whole craze?
I remember that. Yeah, because I remember your Aunt Judy, Kate, when she was growing up, came in at the beginning of that philosophy. And I remember when she came home from what was called sports day, the field day. It was field day where the entire day was nothing but sports, the entire day and sports and competitions. And she came home with this little trophy, second place in tug of war. And my older sister and I looked at each other and we go, second place tug of war? What's that supposed to mean? And of course, my mother swooped in, very, very quickly and said, quiet, you two.
Well, that's the thing that they found out that actually didn't work and it was really bad. Actually not healthy for kids because they themselves knew it was cheap, and then it just discredited anything they've ever worked for. Because no matter how hard they tried, it was always because like, well, maybe this was just given to me. I didn't really work hard for it, and it just broke the whole psyche. It was a whole problem. That's why it's like I'm always on the fence whenever there's a new age, like child psychology concept to work on. Like I'm trying to learn more about like raising kids and things like that, and like listening to different perspectives and hearing different people online. And it's like some stuff is good, some stuff is not, some stuff is like I'm on the fence about. And I think it's really going to be, I'm just going to have to read a bunch of stuff, but really got to go by my instinct more than anything else. And dealing with the kid being different, like each kid's going to be different anyways. you know like I'm just thinking out loud here. um but yeah, it's just, I guess that's the way.
Are you preparing yourself
Well, I
for
mean,
parenthood?
I'm just
Is there
thinking about it,
something you haven't told me?
No, Ema, I'm just thinking about it. Because it's just like, you know, I don't know. It's so weird when it comes to just thinking of raising kids and dealing with like
Well,
I was
all parents agree about one thing though,
what
about that there is nothing in the world, no matter how many books you read, magazine
will
articles,
prepare you
you
for the
name-
blah blah blah.
right? There's nothing in the world that will prepare you for being a parent.
Yes, but they
You
say
just
the
have to
people that
do it.
prepare have a higher probability because they had the instinct to prepare than the ones who didn't at all. That's the truth. They said real. I know. I've read articles that said that, where it said like, are you a better parent if you prepare or if you don't prepare? And the answer is, if you're willing to prepare and put in the effort to understand something, then that shows you that you're going to be better than someone who didn't prepare at all and just went off the cuff. On average. I'm not
Mhm.
saying it's perfect. I kind of learned from my mistakes, where it's like nothing is perfect and you can only be prepared for so much before life just kicks you in the balls. So like I'm not totally whatever.
I had a friend who, when it came to, you know, like trying to control things in your life, and like when we first started this discussion, and trying to, to see like how much control we really do have over life. She says, well, the whole story was that her father was in the hospital and he was, I forgot, evidently he did have something life threatening,
Hmm.
and the doctor came out and told her that is the doctor, that he doesn't expect her father to live through the night. So she said to this doctor, doctor, have you checked your driver's license? And he says, have I checked my driver's license? She says, yeah. She goes, tell me, when you check your driver's license, what does it say on there? Does it say your name or does it say G-D? And
Oh.
it turned out her father lived for another 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's so many stories of doctors diagnosing one thing or another, and you learn that like, oh, they live for this, that, and the other. But that's again,
No,
that's
but
life. That's a crapshoot.
right. That's what I mean. But that's what I mean is that none of us have a crystal ball. We're not God. We don't have a crystal ball. And as long as we're honest people, we're not criminals who are out to harm people or rob, but we're out to live, good, honest lives. We can
Hmm.
only make the best decisions that we can with the information and the skills we have. That's all that can be expected of us.
Okay. A different note. What is the most ridiculous thing someone has been mad at you for?
Um, let me think. How much longer do we have in this conversation? I could
Just
go on and on and on.
sure.
I have a list, man. Let me tell you. Let me tell you, if I got a list. Okay. People mad at me. Oh my gosh, for ridiculous little things. Um, I know there's been a lot of them. Computer processing, please wait.
It's okay. You got
Um,
all the time.
I was talking to someone on a cell phone while I was driving,
Mm-hmm.
and I drove into, I don't know, a bad cell or something. This was like when cell phones, you're talking about way back in the early 2000,
Yeah.
when, cell phones still needed to be perfected, and you had areas where either there was no coverage, or if there was police activity sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
or if there was some sort of like there could be some sort of like airplane flying overhead. And when
Mm-hmm.
I got home, this person accused me of purposely hanging up.
Interesting.
And I tried to explain, no, I did not hang up. I drove into a bad cell, and they wouldn't believe me.
Well, that's people. It is what it is.
Then there was, what else? Had about let me see. I know there's a lot. Let me think. Um, oh yeah, I had a voice teacher many years ago at Peabody, and I was only 14 years old, so I didn't drive. And me and a guy friend, who's also interested in classical music, this voice teacher of mine was giving a recital. So of course I wanted his students. I want to be there. So my mother didn't drive, and my father was working. So there was no one at my house that could take us. So his mother said that she would take us. Fine. So we're waiting. So the mother comes home from work, and my friend goes to his mother and said, "Ma, when are we going to leave for the concert?" And she says, "Oh," she goes, "I had such a horrible day at work today. I'm exhausted." No, she goes, "I can't take you." And so my voice teacher was mad at me that I didn't make it to his recital. I missed his recital. I mean, hey, I'm 14 years old. I don't drive. I mean, come on. I'm a kid. Give the kid a break.
But that's the issue with being a kid and a teenager. It's like there were so many times that I was yelled at or got in trouble for things that like I didn't do, and I had to explain myself, and I was ignored. You
Yep.
know, that's the issue of
I
being a
remember.
child and a teenager that you have to just work through, where it's like you're not always going to be believed. People aren't going to always just listen to you. And you got to get to a point where like you have to be able to build trust and learn about reputations and just take it on the chin, I guess. Like
Mhm.
it's just one of the frustrating things. I remember this one time, this was so frustrating because it's kind of like a happenstance story. And I was thinking about it earlier today actually. So I was going to Rabbi Goldberger's shul, and they had this really tall stairs on the outside. And I was going for a bar mitzvah. I was like in seventh grade, and I was kind of bored, but also like just enjoying myself. And like what I like doing is I like seeing droplets fall and then splatter. So I was going ahead and like letting my saliva build up and then dropping it and then letting it hit the ground.
Oh
And
no.
I was just having
Oh
fun just doing
no.
that. And all of a sudden, um, I didn't realize that while I was doing it, because I had ADHD, I was like just zoning out and whatever. Um, these kids were bugging this guy that was running the shul kitchen for the kiddush. He got pissed off and he's like yelling at everybody to like get out of there. And all these kids run. And then like right when he looks up, I'm spitting down
Oh
and it
no.
hits him. And he's like, you're spitting at me. Like he got really upset. And I tried to
Ooh.
explain, like I tried to explain myself and just didn't work out. And he knew Tati, and he
Oh no.
went to Tati, and Tati's like, you're gonna apologize to him. I'm like, no, that's not what happened. And I tried to explain it, but like I was a seventh grader, so I didn't really have the comprehension level.
Right.
and the verbal expressions to be like, hey, I can't do this. Like, no, that's not what happened. And I was in the mikvah, butt naked, and Tati made me go ahead and apologize to the guy.
Oh no!
I'm like, I was so pissed. I was so pissed. It was just very frustrating. But whatever. It is what it is. It's
I
life.
mean, to apologize to someone when you're not wearing any clothes on, that's kind of degrading.
Really? It's kind of degrading? It's kind of degrading? No, it is degrading, Ema. It is degrading. You don't have to downplay every single thing that happens. You can admit that some things are kind of junky. All right? Like my freaking chess game I got for Hanukkah. Whatever.
You still have it? I'll take it.
No, I think I gave it away or something. I was just so pissed off. I didn't touch it for like years. And then when finally someone else wanted it, I just gave it to him. I was just so upset. Because everyone else got all these good presents and everyone else got all this stuff. And then like I was expecting something at least, and I saw it. It was like some junky $2 chess game, and I'm like, I actually started to cry. I was like 7 years old, 7 or 8 years old at the time. And it's funny. I can laugh about it now because I'm not allowed to express any other feeling. But yeah, we're running out of time. But I want to ask you one more question. What scares you the most?
Making these podcasts with you.
Really? It's scary for you? What are you scared? What makes you scared? What makes you scared?
People are listening to what we're saying, man.
So what? Ema, so what? Doesn't matter. It's just people listening.
This is recorded. This is like etched in gold. I mean, long after I leave this world, someone's going to turn this on and listen.
Sure. In 200 years, you have some college students studying you on this podcast, being like, it's interesting how she said this and then that, and she was born here and da 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 da. It's fine.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
Deviant behavior in the Jewish mother. Yes, okay.
Deviant behavior in the Jewish mother.
Yeah, be a host. Yes.
Whatever. It is what it is. So that really the podcast scares you?
I'm joking around with you now.
I know. What scares you the most, Ema?
Scares me the most. Oh,
child
God.
trafficking, Alzheimer's, brain aneurysms.
Actually, you did hit on something like, I guess it frightens most people that we all, God willing, hope to face old age with our minds intact, our minds and our bodies fairly intact. Like fairly, like at least being able to, to walk and talk normally and to, be able to basically care for your own personal needs without anybody else helping. And you see so many people, like I see some of my neighbors, one in particular who unfortunately his health is deteriorating and he can't walk anymore. He needs constant help. And also taking care of your father, watching him deteriorate was very frightening. To see somebody who was so self-reliant and who was the take charge guy, just over a period of years, totally, how can I say it, fuzzle out, morph, whatever, into someone who could not do the simplest of tasks.
Yeah, I mean, I think
that's scary. And you just, like I said, I just hope, I think many people who are, say, like over 60-ish, that I'm sure most of us feel the same way, that we just pray to God and hope that we don't have anything so debilitating. See, like when I see what's going on with President Biden.
Oh yeah.
And it irritates me. I mean, believe me, I'm politics wise, I'm no fan. Believe me, far from it. But as a human being, it irritates me when I hear news commentators actually joking around about his condition, calling him Sleepy Joe, and laughing about him becoming forgetful. And I think one newscaster, really hit the nail on the head. He said he didn't like it either. And he said, quite honestly, he says he feels that and like, I don't want to get political, but what he said was so true. He says, what what the Democrats are doing to Joe Biden is cruel. He says they're putting him up there. They see him deteriorating. He goes, he said, this is really elder abuse. And he said they should really, that they really, he felt that the Democrats were really torturing him, and that they should gently just, take him out of office, get him the help, the actual help that he needs, and just let him relax, let him enjoy life, and have somebody else, have somebody who physically can take over the job, because physically everyone sees what's going on. He really cannot do it.
Well, that's why they're going to have Kamala Harris. That's the whole point.
Listen, but there's a checks and balance system. She doesn't have absolute power. And whatever the president does has to be okayed by Congress. So,
No, I get it. I usually try to avoid talking about politics on the podcast. I mean, my main goal here is to gather information from you and your experience, but not necessarily political points and political climate, because it splits people. It's redundant, and I don't think we have anything new to say.
So
true. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like, everything's that needs to be said has been said. I listen to a few podcasts to hopefully get something new and interesting and a different perspective, blah, blah, blah. But it's all the same thing. The leftists are going to say one thing, right wing is going to say another. Like, it's just, it's so like, and the thing is, it's so predictable nowadays. I don't need to waste my time reading an article. I can tell just by various expressions and inflections of certain adjectives. I'm like, oh, you're clearly slanted one way, and you're going to say it's this. Before I read the whole, I don't need to. I can see the headline, read a couple paragraphs, and be like, oh, I see where you're going with this. Okay, I'm done. And just move on. Like, it just, and that goes with anybody. And that's what's so crazy at this point. We're like, it's just, I think everybody's on the same page, and we're just tired of being lied to. And it's going to get to a point where it's just like, I don't know, like, it's getting crazy. And I'm getting kind of worried with the Jewish community, to be honest, with what Kanye West said, and then with getting all these death threats and bomb threats going on, like the ones in New Jersey right now are
What
getting
happened?
the whole, okay, we got to leave, but the whole New Jersey is being threatened with bomb scares for all the synagogues for Shabbos. All New Jersey.
That information did not get down here.
It's all over the news.
No, I haven't.
FBI made a statement.
Oh, they did? Because I haven't heard it on the news stations down here in Florida.
All right. Well, we got to go. Thank you, Ma.
Love you, honey. Have a
Love
good
you.
Shabbos.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook at Jewish Boy Calls His Mother. I know you would like it, and my mother would too.